Here's a statistic that you probably know, but most people don't know. I did a lot of research into pesticides and how much they're being used and what crops they're being used on. Did you know that on average, grains are sprayed 10 to 12 times in the warehouses before they sit in warehouses sometimes for 2 or 3 years before they actually even make it into your breakfast cereals and breads because we have a grain surplus like crazy.
Yeah.
And so what they do is they actually go through and spray pesticides all through the warehouses. So it turns out that coffee and grains are some of the most highly pesticide-laden crops in the world.
And that would make so much sense because I cannot do grains. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And coffee more recently.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. I had a friend again yesterday who was just taking a synthetic B vitamin that sent her, she had heart palpitations. She had to go to the hospital. They thought she had AFib. And again, we just put her on some liver instead of these. And again, just something that could have really escalated.
Yeah.
And you bring it back to just natural food.
That's I wasn't planning on going there in this conversation, but we might as well. I've looked at a lot of research on synthetic vitamins and what they do to the body. And boy, they've done a great job of keeping that out of the public's arena.
It's interesting.
It's crazy.
Well, do you know Dr. Kara Fitzgerald's research?
No.
Okay, she's this cancer doc. Recently, she did a trial where she actually reversed biological aging in men first by 3 years on average, and later in women, I think a small pilot trial. Anyway, what she has noticed in her book was that levels of folic acid in the bloodstream, they can hypermethylate your genes and maybe increase the risk for colorectal cancer.
Well,
there have been multiple trials where they've used synthetic B vitamins, hoping to get a benefit and seeing an increased risk of cancer.
Yeah.
More than one. So
I've got a number of books looking into that. Royal Lee from Standard Process Labs spoke about that. He's got some pretty strong commentary. But a number of my books, and these studies have been going on for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, synthetic vitamins have been being used for a long time, like since the Second World War.
Yeah.
And the results have never been good.
Yeah, multivitamins in a lot of trials don't do anything. And then we have beta carotene, vitamin E, sometimes increase the risk in certain populations.
Yeah.
B vitamins, calcium in isolation, we have to worry about with heart issues.
Yeah.
And people just don't understand. And I've even had people attack me on our ads because I will bring attention to the fact that synthetic nutrients are not the same as those from food. And they're like, oh, do you really think this is a hill to die on? I'm like, well, maybe. If people don't understand it,
it's not
we're
increasing
the risk of disease. Yeah. It's like, I think it's important. Even if
it's not going to be Autumn Smith dying. Maybe they should get that straight. All you got to do is look at the friggin' research. The science is there. And this is one of the things I like about older science.
Yeah.
It was real science.
Right.
People were genuinely in pursuit of the truth. They weren't bought and paid for. Like right now, we don't have scientists. We get a lot of technicians working for corporations pawning this shit off as science, but it's really propaganda.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Masked as science. Like COVID was a perfect example of how far that can be stretched.
Well, yeah. And even the dietitians who were telling you to have a Coke, it's a good part of a daily meal, but then we're sponsored by the beverage industry.
Yeah.
You kind of can see it.
That's kind of like telling your kid a little cocaine's okay. It speeds your brain up, help you pass,
Lots of focus, right?
It's biohacking.
In moderation, cocaine's fine.
Yeah.
No, I just think that we have to wake up to the fact that, food is different than synthetic nutrients.
And I'll tell you another way I saw this clinically. I saw lots of problems with women who are on synthetic hormone replacement. And we had a brief chat earlier about testosterone. The number of men now, young men, using synthetic testosterone replacement is crazy. And the long-term effects. And one of the most common thing that pops up with all these synthetics is cancer. And look at the cancer freaking fiasco we're going through right now. And all the synthetics in foods. Oh. And all the chemicals in the environment.
Clothes. You know what I mean?
Just everything. It's like a full-on assault against life.
I know. I'm worried about our children.
Where we live, it's expensive.
Yeah.
I have to work fucking hard. I won't even pull the punches. You know, I got to work hard to pay for a 14-acre property, a farm, and the systems we have in place to run our workshops, the buildings we have to have. It's hard work for all of us. And we could not be there if it wasn't for the three of us working like a Navy SEAL team to make it happen. But I tell you, I would rather die than not do that sacrifice so my children can be raised in a real natural environment and learn what life really is about and participate. And if you look at all like I've studied, the immune system and allergies, because it's such a common thing you see clinically, and allergies create huge musculoskeletal problems, chronic neck aches, back aches, hip problems. A lot of was considered rheumatic and osteoarthritis is actually food allergies, especially gluten.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked with piles of people that were told by doctors, oh, you needed a hip replacement, a shoulder replacement, whatever, your L5S1 needs to be fused, clean their diet up, pain goes away, inflammation's gone, and they're like back to running and jumping and playing again. And they were about ready to get a $60,000 operation that could have changed their life forever.
There's case studies too with gluten. And I think like most of the symptoms are actually of neurological nature rather than digestive. People going into psychosis and just not even realizing that gluten, it's just that powerful.
I've seen a huge increase in things like Parkinson's disease and Guillain-Barré syndrome, all these neurodegenerative diseases. I've just watched them increase. And I've been doing this for 41 years. That's 4 decades. That's 2 generations of humans being born and reaching the age where they can, become parents. And so I've watched this, what's getting worse and worse and what's getting better. What's getting better is iPhones. What's not getting better is people.
I know. We know more about our iPhones too than we do about our bodies.
But what I'm saying is, like, I will die on the hill that I pay for. If that's what I have to do to give my kids the best thing my parents did for my brothers and sisters. My father worked in the special effects department at Universal Studios. My mother, when he met, was just a waitress. But they both decided they didn't want to raise us kids in Los Angeles because the pollution was really high and it was just a buzz box, and my dad, this is my stepfather. My stepfather had a degree in agriculture, and my mother had a real interest in farming and holistic health. And so they decided to move us out of LA onto a farm. So our first farm was in Idaho. We had a pig farm for 3 years. Then we moved to Cottage Grove, Oregon, where they were looking to buy select sheep with key genetics that would produce black wool. So they went there, and we lived there for 6 months just while they were doing the application to immigrate to Canada. But then we moved to Vancouver Island in 1972 and had my parents had a 142-acre sheep farm. And I think my dad just recently, maybe in the last few years, because my mom and dad got divorced many years ago now, but they were together for 24 years. But so the farm was still going for quite some time, even after my mom and dad were divorced, because my stepfather still lived there and farmed it. But the point I'm making is that I look back at how many times as an athlete I was trying different diets and what was current to try to get an edge on other athletes. And I was studying everything I could find, every book, every science paper. I'm like, I don't like losing. So I'm like fucking hot on this shit, and I'm talking to all the best athletes. I've been doing it long enough that I can see all these trends. But the point is like, I have thought, my God, I remember all the times I've tried all these diets, and then I would like, this shit doesn't fucking work. I feel like crap. I remember I would be just farting constantly. My guts were all bloated. I'm like running. I'm like, I don't need to pedal my bike. I got a jet engine, And I couldn't sleep very well. I would ache at night. And I realized, like, it was funny. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who, unfortunately, I'm pretty sure is not alive anymore, but he was a guy that did a lot of research, who was a good friend of mine named Jerry Telly. And I'm like, I'm so stupid. Like, this is like 97 maybe. And I'm like talking to him about all these diets I've tried. And he was really into nutrition too. And he was a research scientist, an exercise physiologist and research. He was a very smart guy. And I'm talking, I did this diet and this is what happened to me. I did that diet. This is what happened to me. And he looked at me and he goes, Paul, why don't you just eat like you did on the farm? I said, that's a good idea. So I started doing that. And I'm like 35 years old at the time. So I was like, I'm just going to eat, meat and vegetables. And every freaking problem I had cleared up. I freaking slept better. I trained better. I recovered faster. And so, but the point is, if I hadn't been raised on a farm, I would not have had even the concept of what that means. If someone would have said to me, eat like you're on a farm, what that wouldn't mean anything to a city kid. Like, what the hell does that mean?
No reference point.
Yeah.
For most people.
So I think, and I've encouraged countless of my students to go work on a farm. You want to get in touch with nature? Because like a lot of them are in jobs where they're in cities and they're working in tech companies and they're like, how do I do it? I can't get out into nature and make a living. I said, well, why don't you just go work on a farm? Cut your expenses back and learn about farming and learn about the earth. And I've had many of them come back to me and say, Paul, it was the best advice anyone ever gave me in my life.
Yeah. Because
I learned how to live working on a farm. And now I own a farm. And now my kids will get to learn about what life is on a farm. And I think now is a damn good time to get the hell out of a city.
Yeah.
And put your feet on the ground that's not poisoned by glyphosate and have like a real life.
Yeah. And I think that this generation is getting more excited about it. And I think the idea of regenerative agriculture is that pull.
It is.
It's so meaningful, such a big idea, and something we need so badly.
Absolutely.
But the young people are, again, infiltrating agriculture.
And I think it's children like mine and yours.
Yeah.
And those like it, they're going to be the leaders of that movement.
Yes.
And if they don't lead the movement, there won't be a movement.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
It would be the end of movement itself.
We'll be in big trouble. Yeah. It's up to us and them.
Things will come to a halt.
Yes. Screeching.
And it'll be backed by science.